Fired up to get on the Rude Guest Hotline. Welcome in our friend Cynthia Frelund, NFL Network analytics expert. Cynthia, how are you? What's going on?
I'm doing great, thank you. I love that song. I was like, oh, is he going to swear? Keep us all on our toes. It was good. I liked it. I was here for it.
I think my guy Jeff would know to play the edited version of that tune, but you never know.
Got to keep everyone on their toes. It's the morning. Wake up. A good,
Are you on the West Coast? I appreciate you joining us early, if so.
Oh, come on. It's not early here. We got to get up and do our thing. And unfortunately, I'm going to brag here for a second, but the weather is insane here. So it's really nice. So I'm like, okay, I guess I got to deal with this beautiful day. It's crazy.
It's not the same here. I think it's like 40 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's cold.
And yesterday there were tornado warnings. It's 35 degrees here, and it feels like 20, according to my phone.
I am so sorry. That is awful. Come to my house. We have extra rooms. There's as long as you can handle 2 huskies, you are more than welcome to come here and enjoy this weather.
I appreciate that. Huskies are active dogs, man.
Oh, they're active. Very.
So, Cynthia, we just got to talk to you in Indianapolis at the Combine, and I think you were kind of expecting Washington to be active here in free agency. They certainly have been. I'm curious what you make of the Commanders' moves so far.
I really like the Commanders' moves. I think if I had to pick my favorite moves for all of the teams that were very active in this time period, because sometimes it's good not to do much, and sometimes you're in a cap-constrained situation. But for the teams that could make moves, I think these are excellent moves. I think the I got to get over this because I keep talking about this, but I think that K'Lavon Chaisson move is like the DeMarcus Lawrence situation from last year, which of course was the Seattle Seahawks. But I think that's the analogy for this year.
Wow, I like that. So you think he could make that big of an impact, huh?
I do. I think he really proved it. I mean, the Patriots system, to get 7.5 sacks in that situation where they don't funnel production through one player, they clearly spread everything around. It's like him and one other guy had more than 5 sacks, right? So when you're looking at the opportunity to then be featured in a Dan Quinn situation, okay, let's go. I think it's a really good fit.
That's great. What do you think of Owe? Especially he's playing in Southern California. You probably watch a lot of them.
Oh yeah, I really like him too. It's just that one was a more spendy one.
Yeah.
I kind of, to be fair, I kind of like the guys who were like, well, is he worth it? Is he not? Those are my I have a soft spot for them. Owe was a big name, big acquisition, top market guy. So everyone was talking about him already, but I'm like, come on, where's K'Lavon Chaisson in this one? And Leo Chanel, let's talk about him too, because
I like him.
That was a steal. What? I'm sorry, what? What are we doing? So I like both of those moves quite a bit.
They went into this free agency with a lot of needs, and they went defense heavy, and I think that's what they should have done, but they didn't go crazy with it, right?
No, I don't. I mean, I think they went really smart fits, right? You could have obviously tried to get in on some of the bigger trade, untrade, whichever. However you want to talk about these situations that were happening all over the league, but having depth and having a strategy for guys that fill specific needs, it tends to work out a little bit better. So good job, Adam Peters, because, I'm a big Adam Peters fan, obviously.
Talking with Cynthia Frelund here on the Rude Guest Hotline. You can follow Cynthia at CFrelund, Frelund. Check out all her work at NFL.com and watch her on NFL Network. Going kind of off the path here. Offensively, Washington didn't do a ton for a few days. Then they spent real money to bring in Chigakonkwo. I know you look at the numbers with him,
sure,
but that offense in Tennessee has just been so bad. What do you think his breakout potential is?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you're going to miss Zach Ertz, right? No matter what. Part of what the difference in the red area when you have someone who's super reliable or not is massive. So, I also think you have to look at how Chig can block. So we don't, a lot of fantasy football, we don't really, we talk about tight ends. We're like, we want them to score touchdowns. Well, that's great, but it's really, really nice to, use play action, have a blocking tight end. Good Lord, that will really help, help your quarterback out. And obviously what you look at with Okonkwo is run after the catch, right?
Yep.
So not only is he a big body guy, great in the red area, and then you look to see what he can do when the ball is in his hands, and he checks all those boxes. So I think that, and it's an interesting market for tight ends right now, right? Like if you just kind of look to see what happened, to me, like there's a lot of value, like having good corners and having good tight ends right now that are multiple. It's just hard because the tight ends sort of some get paid like blockers who are pass catchers, and some get paid like pass catchers who aren't. Like it's kind of a weird world. So Chig's kind of checking all the boxes. So who cares, right? Like it's like get the right guy in for the right system.
They've signed people and put themselves in a position where I don't think they need to lean a certain direction once the draft comes up. But everybody seems to think, they signed that person, they going this way. Then they sign somebody on another position the next day, they going that way.
Yep.
Can you tell?
Nope. And I think that's
that's
well,
perfect.
I think that's also by design, right?
Yes.
I think when you're looking at what this is a weird draft because we're seeing the confluence of NIL plus transfer portal making the playbooks in college much thinner. The guys move around. They don't get deep into, like, big names move around, quarterbacks, wide receivers, et cetera, move around. So now you've got, like, the playbooks thinning out, which also, on the defense, that means the defenses are also thinner in terms of how much they're learning in a specific year. So when you're looking at their resume, like, it doesn't mean they can't do something. They just don't have any reps doing it. So there's a lot more uncertainty. So that's where you're giving yourself you're basically buying yourself the option to go with a player who, when they come into your building, I think these 30 visits will be massively, massively important. When they come into your building, when you test them on how you believe they need to learn, adopt, be a part of the Commanders organization, all of those things come together, and you can now pick and have a lot more flexibility. Because I just don't think this is a draft where we're like, I feel like I don't know a lot about a lot of these players, especially, let's say, maybe 5. I feel like you're like, okay, like I can see how that guy contributes from day one, but then it's like a big scribble after that.
It is a big scribble. I'm curious when you look at the draft, and I know how much you study these players and kind of from a different angle through the analytics lens. The position that makes the most sense to me for Washington would be drafting a stud receiver. I think there's not necessarily consensus that Carnell Tate is the 1-1 of this receiver class. You've got guys from the West Coast. You got Lemon and Thomas. Like, what do you see from this receiver group? Is there one person that has separated themselves?
The word separate is really a really good one there. Now, I think Carnell Tate has separated himself from the data. Why? Because when I'm watching how he runs routes and I'm watching the ability to generate separation, I don't care if he's a titch slower. I couldn't care less about that. Like, he's not slow. It's not like he ran a 5.2, something crazy, right? So when you're watching his film from college and what he was asked to do. Now, we don't know what he was asked to do as outsiders, but at the wide receiver position, you can trace routes and route trees and to see how much separation is going on at different points in the route. So he is a guy who clearly creates separation, and he's a very, very, like accurate route runner is hard to say for college players sometimes because we don't, it's a little weird with the way college works and whatever, these thin playbooks. But I can tell you, he creates the most separation of any of these guys. I also, look, I'm from Michigan. I'm not supposed to like Ohio State players at all. In fact, I'm supposed to hate them. Right? Yeah. Like, and I think like that's the one I would feel the most confident with from the day one, from the jump.
We had you on early and you mentioned when they were talking about Ruben Bain, and you said his arm was 1/8 of an inch, which is minor. Right. Is there a percentage that they look at to where they go, oh, we can't do nothing? Or as soon as you say someone, like when they mentioned that, it made a lot of people think his arm was super short, but you said 1/8 of an inch. But is there a percentage they look at before saying something like that? Because what if a guy is 2 inches shorter and 1/8 of an inch?
Right. So that's the thing where people, like, to me, you got to look at, first you have to look at your height. Second, you have to look at how far off of the height you are. So pluses or minuses, right? Like I measured myself. My arms are like plus 1 inch or like almost 2 inches longer than my height, which is really random. But I'm also very flexible. So you have to remember some of these guys, they, think about how muscles work, right? You spend a lot of time increasing the volume of your muscles. It's going to make it harder to be flexible. Sometimes those two things don't work together, right? So I would argue that, the best kind of people I know talk about ranges for height, but also for muscle mass. So, you have to, everyone has like a little bit of a different formula. It's not out of range. That makes me crazy. That the hand thing and the arm thing makes me crazy. Now, if it was very out of range, then we can talk. Yeah. But if it's an eighth of an inch, I don't know about you, and I understand this guy's much younger than me, but like sometimes in the morning, I feel like I'm 2 inches shorter because maybe I didn't sleep like on my back or whatever. So, imagine if you're lifting all these heavy weights, 1/8 of an inch is probably some function of not maybe stretching out as much as you could have.
So that said, because I also think we've reached this stage of like information overload coming out of the combine. And there's like these arbitrary marks that get set kind of by like the media about what a player has to be or can't. So to that point about Bane, because I think Bane's going to go to a team and be really good. He's shown enough on the field.
His film is very good.
Right.
His film is
and that's
like these people. I am an analytics person, and thus I would love to have access to the most amount of data possible. But you have to know what's useful and what's not. So I and some of this stuff like. Sure, you can say his arms are great. Actually, maybe that's good, right? You're drafting 7, so maybe you nudge the guy next to you, and you're like, hey, he's got short arms, right? Like tell that to guys drafting ahead of you. I don't know. It could be good strategy. I'm not sure.
Well, my question then, so the concern, if we can call it a concern, with Carnell Tate is he ran a 4.52.
Stop it. That's not concern. Okay, keep going.
That's what I'm bringing up. Like. Where does that matter to you?
It doesn't.
If it was a 4.49, that's not very much off.
I don't care. Like if you look to that is within the range. If you look at the guys who have been all pros, I mean, Pro Bowl is like a voting, a popularity contest, right? So let's look at the guys who are all pros, Hall of Famers, the guys on winning teams, And I don't mean to throw shade, but like DeAndre Hopkins is a top end guy, and he didn't run super fast. Like, relax. Like I think as long as it's not out of range significantly, who cares? Like, actually, maybe tell people drafting Andy, yep, he's super slow. You don't want him. Like, totally fine.
Right. Okay. I agree with you, and I was just curious if that's where you'd land. We also have, and I think you might do some work with the Broncos, so you might have to go here.
Yeah.
Schefter just tweeted out, is where I'm seeing this from. Denver's trading for Jalen Waddle from the Dolphins. Denver gets Waddle and a 4th rounder in this year's draft. Miami's gets a 1st rounder and a 3rd and a 4th. That's a big move to get a real weapon for the Broncos.
Okay.
This just happened.
I did not see that before, so I do listen, I'm an OG preseason person. I am like the only person in the world who asks, like, I beg to do preseason sideline. Let's talk about that. Maybe says something weird about me, but I think that shows you where the Broncos believe this year's roster sits. I think they're selling out to win. I mean, that clearly. There's no other explanation for that. That's what I think. So, I mean, Sean has a type. He's a Parcells disciple, so those big body receivers are going to be exactly what he wants.
Wow, there you have it. Now, this one was pretty unexpected. The A.J. Brown stuff is where people have been leaning in the receiver market. Do you think A.J. Brown ends up playing for the Eagles this fall?
No. I don't know where I think I have no basis for anything other than it feels like the well has been poisoned enough where I think they're just holding back to get, they probably, because he's a valuable asset. I just think that, I think it'd be hard to come back to this, although it's not impossible. But I would say I'm leaning 60-40, he's gone.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
I agree with that.
To me, it seems like it's New England all day.
The weird part is, like, I don't know, because if there's one thing I've learned about Mike Vrabel over these years and, watching his career progress, it's like he wants, like, meathead football guys who are, like, really, really dedicated to the craft. So I'm not saying A.J. Brown isn't. I'm just saying I don't know if we'll have to see about their personalities meshing. I know he plays offense and blah, blah, blah. And, Vrabel is more defense, but I still think, that's going to be where the question lies, is like, how much of this is like, it's conjecture, how much of it, like, cause like the book on the sideline, like, I don't know. I don't think he wants to deal with distractions. So that's my one, like, asterisk there.
And then the other receiver kind of tangentially involved when we're talking the Patriots is Steph Diggs. What did you think of his season last year? What do you think of his market now? I mean, he's available. He's out there. He
ruined his own market, so that's on him. But whether or not it's fair, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, and I don't do that. But outside forces ruined the market for him. I think he was extremely valuable last year, and even though it wasn't great for fantasy football, I think that the opportunity for him to be now the wily veteran in the room to help kind of figure out spacing and all those other things is massive. So, I mean, as long as everything else gets sorted, I just don't think, the teams have to figure out, like, for the price that they would have to pay for him, will he be available? And what is this other, like, that's why teams hire these private investigators. They know what they're doing. I don't. I'm an outsider, but it feels like the market is interesting because of his own other stuff.
The fact that he's sitting there, the fact that New England releases him after a Super Bowl run is pretty interesting, right?
Right. Right. I mean, I don't know anything. I'm just looking at clues, and that clue, that feels cluey, so I don't know.
Right, for sure. So the last thing for me, I'm curious, we heard some Brian Thomas stuff down in Jacksonville. That's a player that I think is really good.
I love Brian Thomas Jr. He's great.
You think Jacksonville would actually move him as we get closer to the draft or even into the summertime?
I would have said yes ahead of free agency, but then I look at some of the pieces they lost. I mean, Devin Lloyd alone, Travis Etienne. I'm like, do they want to keep having to accommodate big losses now on both sides of the ball and changes? I feel like they would deal him for the right price, but I think that price got higher after some of the losses they had in free agency.
Yeah. I think to me, there's a little bit of smoke there. I don't know that it'll ever get to fire. And I think if everybody just has
if the price is right, that fire will get lit. I mean, if you're like, look at what the market just said right now about Jalen Waddle. Right. 1, 3, and a 4, right? So the market's saying that now. If someone comes up and like, I'll give you a 1 and a 2, then they're going to think about it. I just think they'd have to as business people. I'm not suggesting they should. I'm just saying, they'd have to at least consider it for like a 1 and a 2. I don't
know. Cynthia, today is St. Patrick's Day. Are you wearing green? Will you have a Guinness?
I'm wearing green. I won't have a Guinness. I like Guinness, but I don't love it. So, I mean, I don't know. I've been going through the most random phase of my life, and now I have liked Coronas lately, which is so strange because I never liked them in college. And then all of a sudden they sound good.
Especially in Southern California, warm, sunny weather. I like a Corona here and there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird phase I think it's the lime. I'm not sure. There are much better options, but for whatever reason, I'm into it.
Now, I have a friend, Peter Stewart. This is his theory, that on St. Patrick's Day, you should go to a Mexican restaurant. On Cinco de Mayo, go to an Irish pub. Switch it up.
I think that's a great idea.
There's no crowd at the Mexican spot tonight. Every Irish pub is jamming, so maybe go get a Corona.
But you want to be with the crowd.
I mean, I don't want to be with the crowd. I'm good.
Cynthia, when I go to Scottsdale for Cinco de Mayo, I'm not going to an Irish pub. Not happening.
No, I feel like I do think there's something to, like, if you were going to, like, eat, though, like, food-wise, I feel like, I mean, obviously, Irish food isn't known for being as great as Mexican food, but, like, I feel like this could be the best night ever to get, like, the best Mexican food because everyone else is doing other things. So, like, if maybe there's, like, a Mexican restaurant that's hard to get into, this would be a good night to target it.
Yeah, tonight might be the night. Cynthia, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.